Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. The board might seem very similar to my last video, where I also covered a game of Bobby Fischer against James T. Sherwin. They're two same persons, but it's a different game. Funny enough, it was played in the exact same year of 1957. Let me remember you that Fischer was only 13 years old at this point, and especially at the time, James T. Sherwin was quite a strong player. I believe he peaked around 2300, which due to rating inflation, which means that basically nowadays people have much higher elos than people before, even though they have the same strength. So due to that, he would probably have around 2400 elo today. And yeah, this is another game, another very precious game that we are gifted with. So let's get right to it. Fischer started with e4 as he always did. As he famously said, e4 best by test, which means basically it's just the best, and the experience and the practice shows it. So we have a Sicilian, and Fischer, especially then, went sometimes for the so-called King's Indian setup or King's Indian attack with white. So this is how he chooses to develop. Nowadays, this is not regarded that highly in terms of precision. There's quite a few ways for black to equalize, but at the time this was still very much untrodden path. So Fischer goes rook e1, and here already Sherwin starts making some inaccuracies. The best move is surely d5, and just fighting for the center, getting some activity, getting some space. But instead he went d6, which is already quite passive. Fischer went c3, intending d4, and now Sherwin plays b6. Another inaccuracy, he wants to develop his bishop to b7, but nowadays we sort of know that b5 is usually the way to go in order to get a queenside expansion and counterplay. So he went b6, Fischer goes d4. So you see how he's basically seizing the initiative for free. He's basically controlling the center, and he's got a very stable center, very good pieces around it. Sherwin goes queen c7, and Fischer immediately strikes with e5, taking advantage of the fact that Sherwin's pieces are not that well harmonized. So he goes knight d5, which is actually a pretty good response. A trade happens on d6 and knight e4. So Fischer, as we saw in the last game, and as we'll continue to see, he really liked the bishops. I believe he was quite an early advocate that bishops should be worth slightly more than knights. And he really liked to work with the bishop pair. You can see how his bishops tend to have very good placements. So here, he just wants to grab the bishop pair. And Sherwin replies a little bit probably too quickly with c4. And there was no need to panic here. Basically, Fischer, alongside threatening to take the bishop, he's threatening to play, let me just give you an example, h6, just random move. Fischer's threatening c4 followed by d5. And this is very, very, very dangerous. Probably just winning. So he was scared of that, and he decided to block it himself. But he could have played bishop a6, which would have been a better move. And he's developing a piece and stopping c4. But okay, he played c4. Fischer took that bishop and went knight g5. And here you can see how if the position is very static, this is quite a difficult concept to understand, but if the position is static, which means if there aren't many dynamic possibilities, if there's not a lot of tension, the bishops, that's where the bishops really shine. And here that's the case. Sherwin with this move basically locked the center, and this bishop is not getting challenged anytime soon. This one is also going to find some nice diagonals. And you can see really the helplessness of the knight here in such a position. So Fischer threatens mate on h7. He wasn't thinking that Sherwin wouldn't see this. He wanted to provoke a move like g6 to further weaken his kingside. Sherwin went knight g6, indirectly defending that. h4, threatening h5 to remove the knight from masking the queen. Knight f6, and now a beautiful move. The threat here was also, I should mention, knight takes h7, followed by h5. So Sherwin stops that, and now the question is what to do with white. When I first saw this game, I thought he would play something like knight e4, and after a trade, he would play to the advantage of the bishop pair. Again, this is still very good for white. He's going to go h5 next, bishop f4, very good position, but Fischer comes up with a brilliant move. Knight takes h7 anyways. So the move that Sherwin was so keen to stop and prevent, and Fischer just does it anyways and laughs in his face. So first things first, if knight takes h7, then follows h5, and bishop f4 with a skewer on the rook and the queen. And if king takes h5, then bishop f4 is possible anyways, because the knight is pinned to the king. So quite an imaginative idea, and Sherwin had no other option but to take that. Fischer went h5, and Sherwin went knight h4, resourcefully trying to give back some material in order to complicate the game. Fischer played bishop f4, queen d8, and now the point of this move basically is that if Fischer, were to be greedy and take the rook, then he could just take this bishop, and after king takes, he has this check, which is very important, and then he takes this bishop, and black would actually be winning here. So instead, Fischer had to take on h4 and ruin his structure a bit, or a lot, but he still has the bishop pair, and also Sherwin's king is quite weak, as we'll see. Rook b7 was played, another very resourceful move. Fischer shouldn't be greedy. Oh, I should mention also the rook here is just trapped, that's why he needed to move it. It has nowhere to go. So it goes to b7, and actually taking that would be quite a big mistake. You might think that's the whole point of Fischer's play, but if you take that, we're told that rooks are worth more than bishops, but often it's not actually the case. Here, this bishop is worth way more than any of these rooks, because the queen can come to d5, and again, this structure is so shattered that and the light squares are so weak that black gets serious counterplay. So instead, h6 was the correct move. Also, weakening black's pawns around the king. We have queen takes h4 and h takes g7. So we're threatening to win this rook. And here, Sherwin already panicked and took on g7. He should have at least played rook e8 in order to use this pawn as a shelter for his own king. He took, and after rook e4, threatening a discovered check to win the queen, he moved the queen. Now rook e3. So quite a nice little tickle by Fischer. Now he's threatening rook g3 check. He plays rook h3 first, bishop e5, and from here it was just a matter of conversion. Black's king is way too exposed, and eventually he goes a queen up. Sherwin cannot take this back because this rook hangs, and it's completely lost. So here there was really nothing he could have done. And the game ends on move 33 with bishop c6 check, and black resigns. So quite funny that these two met twice in the same year, and actually Fischer with both times with white pieces produced two marvelous games. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon with another Fischer game, continuing our Fischer saga. Peace out.